So, welcome to Hospitality Storytelling. We're starting a new webinar series this week. We had the end of our last series, Hospitality Branding 101. Had a wonderful time with CGL Visuals and Carlton and the group. Ricia really ended us off with a bang last week. So exciting. But we have so much more in store for you today and for the next 4 weeks. But before I get into that, I want to take this time to thank our sponsors, first and foremost, Vivid Consultancy Group, our main sponsor that has been sponsoring a managed hospitality website. We have a winner to announce today that would have won the first managed hospitality website, and I'll announce that shortly. Of course, CGL Visuals Graphic Design is our graphic sponsor. They do all of our graphics, all of our thumbnails and so forth. So if you're looking for someone to do your graphics, check them out. I'll share their link before we finish. And this week, one of our sponsors, as well as special guests as well, is the group coming from LRTS. And I want to make sure I get this right, Media and Business Solutions. And we're going to be meeting Latoya, the person behind this group. We want to be talking this series about content marketing. We want you to understand, how do you use your content? How do you crystallize your story? Where do you position yourself when there's so much noise on social media, on the internet? How do you get through all that noise and make sense to those persons that you really want to target? So we have a lot to share. But before I go any further, I need to bring in my guests so that you will get an understanding of who will be meeting with me every evening for the next 4 weeks. So, Latoya, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm very fine, Joshua, and good evening to everyone who are tuning in on the live today or probably will watch the rerun. It will be nice to meet you.
Excellent. So as I said, I just wanted to get persons acquainted with who's going to be meeting with me every evening as we talk about content marketing, as we talk about writing, crystallizing your content, your story, and so on. But I can't do it justice. So I'd like you to tell us about yourself, and most importantly, tell us about LRTS Media and Business Solutions.
Well, it's a pleasure being here, as said. LRTS is me, Latoya Roberts Thomas. I've been around in media and communications for about 10 years now. But I would say LRT was strategically born about 3 years ago. And we provide that boutique consultancy service as it relates to media relations, PR, and communications. And lately, it has been about focusing on really understanding what is the voice that the client wants and the reach that they need. So we very much do customize service depending on the needs of our clients.
All right. I know that you have recently written a book. And I mean, I can't even dream to start thinking of writing a poem, much less a book. So you really need to let me know, where did you find your passion for writing?
Well, the thing is, because I've been involved in media and communications for over 10 years, writing comes naturally. Previously, before, most of my focus has been on featured articles and excerpt pieces, a lot of research work also. But I guess with COVID, it really gave me some downtime to reflect. So I have produced a book of poems, and I've also started a new company under the title of Books by LR that focuses on writing and editing for self-published authors.
All right, excellent. We know that you will also be doing a special giveaway at the end of these 4 weeks. So I want you to tell the audience more about that giveaway. I know I have the links that I will share with them, but let us know, how could someone win? And first and foremost, what will you be giving to our audience that will be engaging with us over the next 4 weeks?
So for those that are taking part in this webinar, you have 2 options of lovely giveaway. One is a big prize, which is valued at about $750, which includes consultancies where I work with you personally one-on-one towards developing the content that you need for your brand. So it's very much a bespoke service where we sit down and we look at the main issues, the problems, what are the messages that you want to put across to your audience, and really refining that. to target who you need to, and then discussing different channels through which that content could be published to reach your audience. So that is a lucky winner. One lucky winner will get that prize of valued at 750 US dollars for 3 consultancy meetings. Secondly, for anyone that attend the webinar series for the whole month, for the next 4 weeks, you also have the option of 10% discount upon services requested by my company anytime after the webinar, once you mention that you have been here, and we could verify that.
Excellent. So for those that are wondering, okay, how do I get this? Very simple. Let me tell you what you need to do. You just need to go to LRTS Media's page. I'm going to share that link for you right in the chat. So all you got to do is click on that link. When you get to the page, you will see at the end of the show, you'll see our live broadcast. You just go below that broadcast and you simply type the hashtag or copy and paste the hashtag just below it, hashtag LRTS Media. I've just posted that in the chat so that you could go and simply enter it. And that's it. That's all you got to do for an opportunity to win Latoya's service.
And they need to like the Facebook page.
Yes, thank you very much for that. You see, I'm being guilty. I know I already liked it. I mean, you know you're going to like it. You need to follow Latoya so that you could see more about content writing. And she posts on a regular basis a lot of really good tips in terms of how you could level up your writing skills. Very simple. Go to the page, like it, and you just type below the post that you will see for this live, LRTS, hashtag LRTS Media. That's not all. Just as I mentioned, we also, Vivid Consultancy Group, one of our other sponsors, is also sponsoring a fully managed hospitality website. Just before I tell you how to do that, I'm really excited to announce our first winner. So Denisa David from Global Villagers 360 would have been our first winner. Yay! So Denise, I am excited for an opportunity. I already did some research on your page and getting some background of who you are and what you do. We realized that you help youths and those in rural areas. I could already see so much great things we could do for your digital platform to tell your story and to continue your mission of helping those persons. I saw a photo of your Facebook page on the beach side. You seem to be into nature. So I'm excited for us to be able to work together to design your hospitality website, whatever messaging and vision you want to achieve. We will be able to work with you to get that accomplished. Now, if you want to win your hospitality website, it's very simple. All you got to do is go to Win Hospitality Tools. I'm going to share that in the link right now. So just go to winhospitalitytools.com. When you enter that, it will take you to this page right here. Very simple. All you got to do is come in and there are several ways for you to enter. Every day you could enter. The more entries, the better opportunity you have to win. We randomly select a winner at the end of the 4 weeks. You could enter by subscribing to our YouTube page, liking our Facebook group, joining our newsletter. Any of the options will give you an entry into winning a fully managed hospitality website. How do you get the best out of these seminars, these webinars? You need to do a few things. If you haven't done so already, go to the webinar page and join the webinar. I'm going to paste a link in the description for you as well. So just go to vividconsultant.com/webinar. It will bring you to this page. You will get more details about the webinars, what is upcoming, and to the bottom of the page, you will be able to enter your email address and name, and you will be registered. What this allows us to do is at the end of each webinar, if you missed anything, we normally will compile and summarize a lot of the content and email it to you, as well as tips. We will not spam you. We will just send you valuable content. You could always unsubscribe, but we will definitely be sending you content that will be useful to you. Another way you could be part of the inner group is to join the Facebook group. Here is where we ask questions. We understand, what are you looking for? What are the questions you have? Other professionals in the hospitality industry, there is where we share tips and so forth. So if you haven't joined the group as well, you need to simply go to Facebook groups, Hospitality Tools, and join the group. I've pasted that in the description as well so that you could do so. Now that we have that out of the way, we want to get into some of the things that we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to go through a very short presentation where I'm going to be talking about, why do you want to find your target audience as it relates to your hospitality service? And Latoya, I'm going to save Latoya's section because Latoya really is going to be talking about the power of storytelling. So as they say, I leave the best for last. So Latoya will be joining us shortly, but I'm going to jump in now. So Latoya, I'll see you in a few minutes. All right. So I'm going to bring in my slides and I'm going to go through with you a few tips in terms of how do you target your key audience. So most importantly, why do you want to target specific customers or guests in the hospitality industry? At the end of the day, you may want to think more is better. Not always the case. If you're trying to reach everyone, it's much harder for you to be able to market to those. You only have a limited budget, assuming. I mean, if you have all the money in the world, then go for it. That means you could afford it. But if you're in most persons in the hospitality industry that have a limited budget, then you want to target a specific group. Find your niche. And in that way, it becomes simpler, it becomes more cost effective for you to market to that particular group. In addition to that, what you will find, if you're marketing to a specific niche, you are getting larger margins because persons that are looking for these unique experience is willing to pay more for that experience. It allows you to create a larger margin for each guest. And those persons are happy for the opportunity to get that once in a lifetime experience. Understanding what that is for you is what we'll probably discuss and what are some of the options. It's also less competitive. The reality is, if you are trying to get the attention of everyone that's looking to travel or to stay at a particular destination, then it becomes very much so a very crowded market. But if you niche down to a particular market, know who you're targeting, then you're going to get less competition in that particular area. And first and foremost, you're going to increase your brand loyalty. Persons know that, understand that you addressed a specific need for them. They will connect with you and associate you with that experience, whatever that particularly may be. And we will talk more about some of those examples, or what are some of the, I would say, some popular niche that are trending now, right? The first one I want to say is pet-friendly hotels. Persons that are in the that I would say enjoy their furry friends with them. It's willing to spend more to ensure that they're with their, if it's their dogs, their cats, and so forth. They want to be able to have that experience. Now, if they had to travel and they have to leave their pets behind, they have to first make sure they're paying for someone to babysit their pets, make sure they're well taken care of, make sure they're fed. And then they're probably going to be worried as to what's going on with them. They would have much preferred if they could have walked with their pets and willing to pay more for that experience because they know they're right with them. One of the things that it indicated in 2018, the pet industry spending reached in excess of 72 billion US dollars. And that was increasing more and more. So you would get to understand with this section that you would be able to leverage that. Obviously, it would be good to know that you're into pets. So you're not just getting into it for the sake of getting into it. Maybe you already have pets. Maybe you already have pets on your property and things like that. So it allows you to just lean into that. It should be something you're really passionate about because you would understand what a pet lover needs at your property. Is it a particular type of food that they would want to have? The particular bowls and things like that. So all the things that would be of necessity to them, you'd want to have. And there is where you don't necessarily want to be mix and matching it, because someone that don't love pets is going to have a poor experience if they're on the property. But if you cater to pet lovers, then it's going to be a really fun experience where everyone that's on property already have an appreciation to what that may look like. The other industry that is trending is actually wellness industry. Persons are spending more and more to get pampered and catered to. So let's assume you're able to have a spa experience and you could incorporate that. So persons knowing that they really want to have a relaxed environment where they can come and be pampered and so forth. Let's assume you don't necessarily have the facility for a spa, but you could probably work with a masseuse and do massages on property, even if the person is being paid on a commission basis based on the booking, but you could incorporate it within the package and cater for that. Another industry that is definitely growing and many persons are using it in ways, and it could be something that you're just passionate about in terms of just having a bed and breakfast. I'm featuring here a very good friend of ours, Miss Willard from Willard's Bed and Breakfast. And I just love the experience when I visit her property. One of the things that she is an awesome cook. So she enjoys cooking for the guests. And when we go to the dining area, it's a nice, cozy experience. It's just a walk over from the bed and breakfast. She transformed this room. It has this kind of rustic feel. The last time I was there, she upgraded the property. She has a nice pool on property. But it's really catering for persons that don't necessarily want to be going and finding things to eat or preparing all the time. Even though in the bed and breakfast, there is a kitchen where you could cook or things like that. But the whole idea that, you already have food prepared for you. And what I find now, even coming out of COVID, there's a lot of people that wants to travel, they want to stay, but they don't necessarily want to be going out a lot. They would like to know they could get food right on property, they could relax, have a good time, and just kind of have their room or their place to themselves. And bed and breakfast offers that is much more of a smaller, cozy experience. And for someone that is in a position to create that, it's a great way to get into the hospitality industry. Another trending is boutique hotels. And again, another good friend of mine, Jackie from the Villas at Sunset Lane, has really done this well. She's really transformed this property into that immersive experience. It's authentic, it's local. She has trained as in accounts and love chef. So she does what you call a Caribbean fusion recipes that are on site. And then she goes further. She actually takes that to someone that want to have a culinary tour. So you could come to the property, learn to cook these very interesting Caribbean dishes, and you cook it. She teaches you how to cook it. You eat your food at the end of the session, and you could go through that. One of the other package she created is one called Sunset Sip and Savor, where you cook your food, you get wine with it, and all that is packaged within the experience. It has wedding packages that is incorporated and so on. So you get that unique experience. It is small, it is cozy, but it's at a high-end experience. Pool and everything is included. You see some photos of the property. And the last one that I'll feature, there's a lot more. It's like eco lodge or these eco-friendly property, where there's a lot of persons now that are interested in an eco-friendly environment where persons are very interested in understanding what is taking place with global warming and so forth, and knowing that you're a property that cares about the environment. You're probably quiet, less TVs, and more green space where they could relax and just unwind. There are persons that are paying for just an experience that gets them away from the hustle and bustle of their life. And even though you may not have this particular facility right now, there may be an opportunity for you to pivot slightly. Maybe you're already close to a beach environment or a green space, and you could create more of that and really lean into the industry that you see you may be already positioned to get there. You're not just going to get up one day and totally switch what you're doing. But let's say you're already at a beach area, you're already at where there's birds, and like things like bird watching is a huge pull as well, where persons travel around the world to experience different birds and so forth. So if you are at a location that have unique birds, you could incorporate that into your package and ensure that you lean into that particular niche. So how do you market to your niche property? I'll share 3 simple things you should probably leverage. Number 1, create a consumer blog, which means you have to have a website. If you haven't done a website, there are so much free tutorials out there of how you could create your website. Of course, if you're into a booking, then it would be really good for you to have an automatic booking experience where you could really cut back on paying a lot of your commission to OTAs, but you could leverage that, have your own booking. Then you want to leverage things like search engine optimization. I know this sounds like a technical term, but it's really positioning your website to be found very easily on search engine and Google. So you want to cater to certain keywords. What do you want to be known for? Once you understand that, you want to rank for these type of words, and you write content based on your niche or based on your keyword that you are going for. The simple term here is just answer specific questions. There are people out there that wants to know how can I do an eco-friendly trip? What's the best place to travel if I want to have maybe a wedding destination wedding? So you could answer these particular questions, especially if your property already provide these service, but answer it in a very honest and genuine way. And in that way, persons will be able to leverage the services you're already using. If you're doing a consumer blog, the next progression is just to do an email newsletter. So guests would have joined or signed up with your property. You would ask them for their permission to use their email address to share valuable content with them. If you're already into a particular niche, if you're into bird watching, maybe you're into adventure surfing or kite surfing, if you're writing content based on their niche, they're happy to read your content because you're sending them valuable information. And the last one is social media. If you haven't been leveraging social media, you want to definitely do that. But just don't get into hard advertising. Write things that people can do around the property or at the destination. What are places for them to eat? What are tours they could take? Really provide valuable and useful information, such as what does the guest need to know? Is there any particular travel arrangement that they need to know before they travel to your destination? Then share that information with them. Do they need to get a particular type of visa before they come to your property? Do they need to get a particular vaccination? Or does a particular vaccination mix don't work in your destination? It will be useful to share that ahead of time. Persons will find that information maybe on your blog website or your booking website. And if you've already given them all that valuable information, they may already see what are some of the services that you're offering. So in summary here, take the time to really target your audience. Know exactly who you're trying to get to. I think as you get there, as I mentioned earlier, you will be able to create higher margins for your guests. All right. So Latoya, I'm going to bring you in. Hopefully, if you have any particular questions as it relates to how to target some of your audience, feel free to share it in the chat. And at the end, we will look to answer some of those questions. Marilyn, thank you for joining us. And yeah, pet-friendly hotels are really cool for those people into pets. If you're not into pets, it probably won't be a great experience. But that is why you want to do it for something that you're passionate about. If you don't love pets, probably it's not a good idea to transform your property into a pet-friendly property. But hopefully it's something that you're already passionate about. Most of those persons I highlighted, for example, Jackie loves cooking. So cooking for her guests is a natural progression. Similar to Miss Willard, you could see she just loved being hospitable. She loved talking with the guests and engaging with them. By the time you leave, you're friends. And so you're able to lean into the things that you're already good at. And instead of trying to reach everyone, I think the idea is just to really be very purpose-led in what you do. So, Latoya, I'm going to get out of your space and I'm going to bring in your slides so that you could tell our audience about the power of storytelling. Again, if you have any questions for Latoya or myself, definitely put it in the chat and we'll take some time and answer it after.
Well, Josh, it's good to be back in the chat. One thing you said about getting out of my space, the space is broad enough for all of us and big enough for all of us. My story becomes your story, and that is actually what storytelling is about. So I'll go straight into it. Today we'll start the session from the basis of understanding the power of storytelling. Storytelling is this word that everybody lately has been talking about. You have to tell a story. You have to do what is storytelling. But you sometimes really want to wonder, what is storytelling? We're going to skip a bit about me because we already did that. But basically, I've been involved in entrepreneurship and communications and also youth advocacy for a long period of time. And I do have experience as it relates to local market and the international market. And over the last 3 years, a lot of my focus has actually been on the international market. So what is storytelling? A lot of people say they're not too sure what is this storytelling. It's a new word that has been branded about, and people not too sure if they have a story to tell. But basically, we all do have a story to tell. And for today's segment, because we're dealing with a lot of persons in the hospitality industry, in the tourism industry, your story could simply be, tell me about your business. How did you get started? How do you plan to grow this business? All of this is a story to tell and could be framed within storytelling. So I just want to start by letting you know that storytelling could be anything. You all have stories. Everybody has stories to tell. So how do we get there though? Storytelling comprises of, you start with keywords that might be important to you, keywords that might be important to your business or your organization. So for those into hospitality and tourism stuff, keywords might be customer service. It might be keywords such as friendly. It might be that personal one-on-one attention that you want to give. It might be that concierge service that you want to offer. Service quality excellence. Those are some of the keywords that you might start to frame around your business. And then those keywords then manifest itself into maybe a memory, a time when you delivered an excellent service to somebody and they were so pleased that you can build a story around that. Or it might be a memory of when you went out of your way to get an item for a customer to really satisfy their need. And it probably wasn't your ideal listing. It wasn't readily available and you had to go the extra mile. It could be about building a total experience when somebody comes to your hotel or when they go to your guest house, or if they dine at your restaurant, they could tell you from the time that they did their booking to the time that they paid to the time even if they take a doggy bag and leave. What was the full experience that went along with that dining experience? And it also could comprise of history, not only one encounter, but a series of encounters throughout the years that has built into one nice package story. So storytelling could be something very short to something that span over a period of years, depending on your existence and what did you do with your time. And when you were in this space, what did you achieve? And in understanding how did we get here, you need to understand that not all stories go the way that you want it to go. Most times you might have an issue, and within that issue, you can look at it in terms of, I have an issue, and then so what? Does the issue become a big problem or not? Is this issue something that could be easily solved, and you start to think of solutions, and those solutions are the story that you want to tell about what you did? That is one way to think about it. And then sometimes within storytelling, it's okay to focus on the bad things. So if there's a problem and it needs to be addressed, then you may want to highlight some of the challenges or the difficulties or the negativity that you may face at a point in time. But then you also need to look at a solution and a bright end to that story that you want to tell. And then lastly, I think with all good storytelling, to really hit home to the audience and to ensure that it's powerful, there should be some benefits. After I listen to this story, what am I to gain from it? What am I to understand from it? What am I to use from it? What am I to learn from it? All of these things are important when you're doing your storytelling.
LaToya, you finished with Sandra Fanovich?
I do apologize about that. So we're continuing. When you're telling your story too, you need to understand as a person that the benefits might be a lot of things, and sometimes the benefit could just be a simple internal reflection based on something that you have learned. So it's important that when you are telling your story, you understand that there are different tiers of the benefits and there are different ways in which people will interpret the benefits of the story. So therefore, it leads me to my next point. When you are telling your story, what exactly do you want to achieve? What is the power of what you're going to do with this story? For us, we are all business people, so the story has to be linked to our business. Is the purpose of the story then to help you connect people and share ideas with people who are part of your business, customers who you think should be a part of your business? Is it all about brand loyalty? You already have a core set of persons and they love your brand. They already trust you. They know what you have to offer. They know what you have to deliver. So by you just keep on telling stories about your business, you just keep on bringing people back. In tourism, they talk about repeat visitors. Why would somebody every holidays book a ticket to come to Tobago, to come to the same guest house, to go to the same restaurant and eat, to go on the same tour guide that drives you all around Tobago at the same time over and over again? Because you have become so loyal, you have trust that brand, you have gotten to know what it has to offer, and that becomes important within your brand loyalty when you're telling your story. Then for those who are now building their business and want to focus heavily on marketing, you are telling your story to sell your product or service, and you want to make sure and adequately define the features of it. Why should I go to this bar and order a cocktail here? What is so special about this cocktail? Why did I name it Blue Over the Moon? Or why did I name it Waterfalls? What is so unique about these products? These are the things that when you're telling your story, you want to know how to achieve that selling of the service or the product, and you will use storytelling to build that. And then sometimes people just want to tell stories for awareness and informational purposes. Again, it depends on your brand and your product and what you're offering. You may just let people know that these are the services that you offer. These are the information that you can get. This is the things that you might need to appreciate when dealing or doing business with me. And you could also able to tell that story and that information that way. At the end of the day, the power of storytelling really lies with you as the owner and what you want to achieve. There are some people who are excellent at storytelling and they will connect well with people all the time because they have understood what is their message and what they want to achieve. And there are times when most of these points they overlap, they don't always go by themselves. So at times you're building brand loyalty and trust, but you're also selling the product and service at the same time. That is quite fine. Sometimes your purpose will be to build awareness, but you're also connecting and sharing with people at the same time. That's fine. So you can't look at all these benefits as singular benefits, but you need to look at it as an overall package that when you tell your powerful story about your business, that you aim to really transform your business and also transform the lives of the people that are involved. So I would like to just end with this quote. And for all my sessions, I will always definitely end with a quote that sticks to the overall theme of what I present on that day. And for me, I'll end with this one by Steve Jobs. We all know him. And he says, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, the values, agenda, and the entire generation that is to come. So once you have a good story and once you package it well and once you are sharing with people, everybody will be pleased and that story will achieve its ultimate goal. So those are just the tidbits I want to leave with you today in this session as we continue to delve into, having your content and making that content work for you as you continue to build your business in the hospitality industry. Over back to you, Josh.
Thank you so much, Latoya, for sharing such valuable tips. As you were talking, there was something that you said that many have been guilty of, and I want to ask you this question. You said, Eve, as you tell your story, obviously you have a business and you have an ultimate goal of selling your business. But I have this question because it's one that a lot of people struggle with. How can you avoid talking more about your products and less about what the guest needs? Because sometimes you're just writing and you're telling yourself, I do this, and you're just talking about your products, and it may not be what the guest is trying to find. You're not solving the problem for the guests. How do you think, or what advice would you give to someone that is listening to this right now, and they're probably just about to create some piece of content to talk about their business? What insight do you think you would share with them?
Well, honestly, Josh, there is no set formula. It depends on the stage that your business at. Because if you're probably now starting to grow your business and you have these defined products that you want to get out to market, your heavy focus may be on the product. I think you need to understand your audience segment. Some people just want to know what the product has to offer and they want to know the features of it. And there are other persons who want to build a story around the product or around the brand. When I always tell my clients, when they start their business, they need to start with what strategy will work best for them. There's always a mix. We often talk about marketing mix. It's not just always about selling the product. It's not always about the people. It's not always about the price. You have to find that balance and that mix. And I think you will get feedback from your audience. If you find your audience hitting a particular target or asking certain questions, then you will continue to develop your story around the product that way. If you find out that your audience is really responding to just you talking about the product only, and that is working for you, then I won't tell somebody to stop that strategy. It's about finding that balance, definitely.
Thank you so much. I was reading from one of the books that I will probably recommend today, because I know I didn't ask you that, so I'm going to put you on the spot. One of the things I ask every guest is a book that they've probably read or something that has been valuable to them that you will share as a recommendation for a read for someone. But one of the books that I've recommended this before, but it's very relevant in this time, is the book Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And in here, he was talking about Steve Jobs, and he was talking about how Steve Jobs evolved his storytelling for him the first time when he was releasing, I think the software was Lisa or something. And it was like a 13-page Wall Street Journal caption on all the technical details about it. And years later, when he was working, I think, for Pixar, which really was into storytelling, he really adapted and understood story, that when he launched the new products from Apple, it was like 2 words. I can't remember the exact, but I think it's something like think creative or something like that. And the messaging was just clear and simple. I think one of the things Donald said is, if you're launching something, persons need to be able to look at your script. Is it your website, your flyer, and so forth, and they must clearly be able to tell what are you selling, what does it solve, and how do they get it. If someone can't get those 3 things in the first 15 seconds, you failed. So if you are a hotel, you must be able to say, I rent rooms. What happens to it? It will help you to relax. And how do you get it? Click here to book, call here to book, press this button, WhatsApp to get a reservation, call us to get a reservation. You must be able to answer those 3 questions in the first 15 seconds. If you miss anything, make sure you're clear on your messaging. Sometimes you're writing a lot of things that no one really wants to know. They're coming to get those 3 things answered.
I totally agree with you. In content marketing, we focus a lot on that too. Having your key points and your messaging early. Normally when you get into business and they teach you about business pitch, etc., you need to be able to deliver that high level pitch in about 30 to 45 seconds, because after that, people don't really want to hear what you have to offer. So you're right. Storytelling is important, especially if you have that history and that experience. But within the idea of creating a whole narrative of storytelling, you also need to come to the point when some of your stories have to be short. You just need to deliver the information that the customer wants at the point in time, which, as you rightfully said, is whatever is your product, how you're going to get it. Those are, at the end of the day, are the key things that people still want to know. It's the baseline. And you was asking me about my book. I will recommend this book. It's an organizational behavior book, though. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? And I think
Oh,
it's
lovely
good
book.
because it talks about different characteristics of people you will find in the workplace and how do you navigate those cultural differences. So they're the ones who don't want to transform and don't want to deal with change, but then they're the movers who want to deal with it. They're the neutral ones who they can be bothered once you don't come in their corner and disturb what they're doing, that sort of thing. But I think it's a really good book because it looks at the organizational behavior and social dynamics of people, that no matter what, once you're into business, you're dealing with people and you need to be able to understand how will people react to change in the workplace.
That's a wonderful recommendation. We will share each of these recommendations in the links. So if you want to get access to these at a future date, you could definitely do that. That's a lovely book. I went through a training with our leadership group that really allowed us to think through changes and how do you adapt with it. And the funny thing is, each of the characters that was represented, we all have those represented in ourselves. And
Yes,
it's
yes,
just
yes.
to really be able to see where am I and to see the benefits of that. So it's really a really good book and a really good recommendation. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Latoya, if someone wants to connect with you to get to know more about your service and how you could help them probably crystallize their writing, their content writing, I know this is one of the service you offer. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Well, I'm on all social media. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I'm on most. So you could just check me out at LRTS Media, and you can find me there. I'm very searchable, so that is quite fine. And I look forward to hearing much from anyone who wants to improve on their branding, improve on their content, just learn how to get their messaging out there, and definitely tell a powerful story and let it transform lives.
All right. So, Nicole, thank you so much for that comment. And you're right. Clarity of brand and service. It's really about good storytelling. Asim, nice to have you in. That's my cousin. Always supports me whatever I do. Eliz, definitely happy to have you. We hope you got something from it. If you haven't joined the group and you would like to connect with us, definitely join the Facebook group. One of the things I will share for those persons, if you want to connect with Latoya, I'm also going to share her website and her contact page. You could go to Latoya's page, website, LRTS media and business solution.com/contact us, and you could send her a message and connect with her. Or of course, you can go to her social media page and connect with her at any time that you need to. So thank you again for joining us. If you haven't signed up for the webinar, remember to go to the webinar page. You could go to Vivid Consultant /webinar and just scroll down and you could sign up so that we could send you reminders and summarize the information for you. If you haven't joined the group, remember you can go to Facebook groups, hospitality tools, and join the group so that we can connect more. Next week, we will be joining you live again, where we will be discussing our second topic, which is finding your passion and your voice. All right, so that's going to be our next episode next week at 6. We will see you then. Thank you for joining us.